Hi everyone. Baji Yves Golair. Hello. Trono Nawagif. Good evening from Kilkenny in Ireland. Fáilte of Golair. Welcome everyone to this week's Tea with the Druid. This is Tea with the Druid 64. And my name is Eimear Burke. I am a Druid and chosen Chief Elect or Taoiseach of Obod, the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids. So I'm beginning to see some people have joined. Hello, Paul, Adi. How are you from down under? Great. So people are here. Wonderful. So what I'd like to talk to you tonight is about recovering or rediscovering our lost sixth sense. I received very recently a very interesting book from a very dear friend of mine called Wild Signs and Star Paths by Tristan Gooley. Now, I haven't finished it yet, but it's a fascinating read and I'd highly recommend it. He talks about our sixth sense, not as something mysterious, but as being an expert intuition, a kind of a honed ability to join the dots together offered by our senses to complete a whole or a fuller picture in our environment. And in our modern world, the emphasis on rationality and the analytical brain, that for many of us, our sixth sense has been shut down. And when we talk about our intuitive knowing, usually we cannot explain how we know. It's just something we know. And San people in the Kalahari speak of having a burning sensation when they're getting close to an animal that they're going to hunt. Or Aboriginal people will talk about a feeling that they allow to orient themselves towards the animal they're hunting. And of course, this is the nature mind that I spoke about in my last Tea with the Druid. And Gooley talks about two kinds of thinking: slow thinking and fast thinking. And slow thinking is what we use to work things out. So, for example, in problem solving or in situations that we're not familiar with, where we have to make calculations and make deliberate choices. And fast thinking is where we react quickly to a sound. For example, when we sense danger or fear. And it appears that we're not actually thinking about it, but in fact we are. It's just that we're not aware of it. And this fast thinking is what our ancestors and indigenous people and even animals use. And this thinking is very important for our survival. So hi to everybody. We have somebody from Winnipeg and the Netherlands. Wonderful to have you all here. So Gooley says we can develop our fast thinking to read our landscape. And of course, as Druids and as people who are connected with nature and the landscape, this is really, really important to us. And we can learn to become aware of elements or aspects of our environment. And we can raise our awareness of things that we mightn't have noticed before, but once we're taught it, then we know it forever, as it were. I remember when I was a child being fascinated by the night sky and how our ancestors could navigate the night sky by looking at the stars. But it was a mystery to me because whenever I looked at the night sky, all I saw was a big jumble of little lights in the sky. And I just couldn't understand how people could see patterns in the stars. And it wasn't until I went to Kenya in my early 20s, and I had a friend, Donna, who taught me how to read the night sky. So we lived in a desert, and so it didn't rain, so the sky was always clear. Plus there was no light pollution, so we could actually read the whole sky. So with the aid of a torch and a star map, Donna taught me how to read the constellations until I could read the zodiac right across the sky. And what was fascinating for me that once I could see patterns in the stars, I couldn't unsee them again. And unfortunately now in Ireland, I can no longer see a complete night sky because that's unpolluted. But I still have my familiar constellations. So once I see the Great Bear, I can see automatically Cassiopeia, and then I can locate the pole star, and therefore I'm oriented towards the north. And I do this without actually thinking now. And so it's done without any conscious thought. And this is this sixth sense that once you've been made aware of it, it's there with you all the time. And even Gooley talks in his book about using Orion to orient yourself from, or to the east and the south and the west by looking at the orientation of his belt. And once this pattern was pointed out to me, I no longer have to think about it. I see it automatically. And it's just wonderful to be able to now look at the sky wherever I am. Obviously in my own home, I know where the directions are. But if I'm someplace else, I just have to look up at the sky and know where the directions are. Hi, Isalinda from Portugal, Rebecca from New Forest. Wonderful to see you all, and Marcella. So another way I like to engage with the landscape is through bird language. And Howard, my late husband, and I, we went on a course on bird language a number of years ago. And what I found fascinating was it wasn't the who was making the sound that was important, is what they were actually saying. And we learned about establishing a baseline of bird call and noticing when the changes happened in bird call and what they might mean. So for example, if you're walking down a country lane and you hear the chatter of the birds, a beautiful bird song that you're so familiar with, and if it doesn't change as you walk along the path, you can infer from that that these birds are used to people, humans, walking along the path. If on the other hand, the birds go silent, or you hear a change in the bird call, you can infer from that they're not used to people walking down that lane and that you are interpreted as an intruder or a danger. And then alarm calls are different depending on whether they're from above or below. And an interesting thing, the day after we did this bird language course, Howard and I were sitting in the garden and we heard this sudden alarm call. Now, I didn't recognize what it was, and Howard said, "Oh, that's a blackbird." But it wasn't familiar to me. It wasn't that usual one that I recognized, that beautiful, sweet, chirpy blackbird call that happens when maybe I disturb a blackbird suddenly, or when there's a cat walking by. And he insisted that, no, this is a blackbird alarm call. Then we both looked up, and there above us was a buzzard. So what it was the blackbird giving an alarm call to say that the threat was from above. Lots of bird song can be about just chatter, calling out to each other, or you hear the baby birds calling to their parents for food. And like I said earlier, once these signs are pointed out to us, we know them and they become a part of our awareness. And for me, making those discoveries are like magic to me. And I wonder, is this how you experience nature? Are you aware of these things? And of course, we know that Druidry is about magic. And the Irish word for Druidry is driocht. And that is also the word for magic in Irish. And Adrian, a few weeks back, was talking about magic and how, and gave some very interesting examples of how magic is manifested in his life. And I'm a nomophilist. This is a word I love. I like using words. I'm sure many of you are nomophilists too. A nomophilist is somebody who loves to walk in forests and woods. And there is a wood by me where I've been walking for years. And my favorite time there is to walk is at dusk or at nighttime when it's dark. And this is where I find magic. And because I walk in the dark, my visual sense is shut down, and then it awakens other senses. And hearing, for example. But for me, there are different senses of hearing. You know, I can hear the sound of distant traffic, or I can hear the sound of the wind in the trees, or hear somebody else says, this is Erica, different forms of landscape inhabit different forms of perception. Absolutely. And somebody else, I'd like to read the night sky too. But I can also hear the song of the trees, and that's a very sensation, hearing. And when I started on this path, you know, I became excited as I learned the trees, to be able to recognize them, and then notice how they changed as the year turned. And now my relationship with trees has changed. I think it's deepened. And in recent years, while walking along the path in this woods that I'm talking about, I began to notice that when I was near oak trees, I'd get this strange or strong sensation in my crown, the top of my head. So I check it out and go, yes, there's an oak tree, and I'm getting this familiar sensation. But then I thought maybe this is something my imagination, or, you know, when we want magic, we kind of maybe invent it. So I can be quite skeptical at times. So I thought I was going to test this out. So then I decided I would walk along the path with my eyes closed and wait to see if I get the sensation. And yes, it would. And then it would get stronger and stronger. And when it seemed very, very strong, I'd stop and I'd open my eyes and look around, and there, yes, I would see oak trees. Or in the winter, I would see the oak leaves on the ground. So it would tell me yes. This was really exciting. I thought, oh, I have a great sensation with oak trees. Recently, I decided to do this in a different part of the woods where I hadn't done it before. So again, I was walking with my eyes closed and calling to an oak tree, say, if there's any oak trees, can you show yourselves to me? And then I got a very, very strong sensation. And it was much stronger than I'd ever had before with the other trees. And when it got at its strongest, I stopped and I opened my eyes. I looked on the ground, no oak leaves, strange. I look around me above the trees, you know, I see ash and I see beech, no sign of an oak tree. And I'm so disappointed, because then I think, oh, my notion of trees and oak trees talking to me through my head. And yet the sensation was still really, really strong. And then right in front of me, what do I see is a young oak tree in leaf. So there's no oak leaves on the ground. It's holding on to its brown leaves. Really, really powerful sensation. So I spent some time working with this tree. Absolutely fascinating. And then as I walked along the path, I continued my experiment. The same thing happened with another young oak tree. And it was like these trees are calling to me. And generally, I suppose I gravitate towards older trees, mature trees. And now these are two young trees calling to me. So I began to wonder, if there are other tree species that I could connect with using my senses other than my vision. So I started another experiment. And I came to some beech trees and I asked them to speak to me. And then I had this kind of humming sensation in my ears. And then I realized I'd heard this before at night, walking in the woods, but hadn't recognized it. It was from beech trees. And then when I came to the ash tree, I had a sensation in my brow. And then there's a particular yew tree that I work with where there's a strong sensation in my heart space. So I'm conscious with the comments that people are still talking about the stars, and I've gone on to trees. So I'm interested in, I suppose, doing a meditation now seeing if it's possible to connect with trees. I mean, this is something to do in a meditation, then perhaps you'd like to try it when you go next in the woods, to see how trees communicate with you, other than through your vision, how you can recognize trees just from your senses rather than your vision. So, and I'd like to hear, it'd be interesting to hear your feedback. So, if you would like to just sit comfortably in your chair in front of your laptop and close your eyes and just become aware of your breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Following your in-breath as it enters your body and following your out-breath as it leaves your body. Remembering with every in-breath there are possibilities, and with every out-breath there's a letting go. Breathing in and breathing out. Just become aware of your body in the chair. Feeling supported by the chair, feeling the floor beneath your feet, being aware of the ceiling above you and the walls around you. Breathing in and breathing out. And now I'd like your awareness of your room to fade and become aware of being out in the woods, in the forest. Feeling the earth beneath your feet. Being aware of the earth energy beneath your feet. Being aware of the sky above you. Is it day or is it night? Become aware of the colors around you, the textures, the smells, even the taste. Begin to walk among the trees. And find a tree. You might choose the tree, or the tree might choose you. You may be able to recognize it. But in some way, ask the tree how it might communicate with you while your eyes are closed. How it might be able to call to you, or how you may be able to find that tree. And you may stand facing the tree, or you may sit with your back to the tree. And just become aware of your breath again, breathing in and out with the tree. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and out. And with this connection with your tree, just allow yourself to deepen that connection. Become aware of your body. And where in your body do you feel the connection with the tree? This might be in your head, top of your head, your brow, your heart space. You might feel it tingling in your hands. You might even hear the song of the tree. Now give thanks to this tree. For this connection. You begin to move away from the tree. Looking around your forest once more. Giving thanks for all that you've received in this meditation. Just allow your awareness of the forest to fade. And bring your awareness back to your physical body, sitting in the chair, feeling the floor beneath your feet, and the ceiling above you, and the walls around you. Back fully present here and now. Take a deep breath. If you like, take a stretch. When you're ready, open your eyes. So I'd be interested in hearing of your experiences. And this, I would hope, is something that you can do when you go to the woods. For me, it was a very profound experience, because I often think that everything I experience is very mundane. And then to go to the woods and have a sensation of a tree calling. And I'd be interested for you to try this and see what it is you experience. Yes. So I see somebody spell that. I will afterwards. I'll spell it. Just other comments. Somebody, Erica says, from camping with my dad when I was a kid, I learned to be quiet and observe in nature. Birds will always alert you to the presence of other predators, human or otherwise. Absolutely. I have a new word now, Mophilist, one who's fond of forest, a haunter of the woods. It means someone with a love for forest, woods and woodland scenery, or someone who often visits them. A haunter of woods, that's very nice. The word derives from the Greek nemos grove and feels affection. Beautiful. Somebody else says, I'm very hard to pick these out. Okay. Somebody, Joni Alfred, I have several varieties of oaks in my back garden. One I call the wisdom oak. I get a sense of knowledge. Things keep flipping, so I can't read them all. Anyway, it's been lovely to be here, and I'm going to, there's lots of comments that I will read afterwards, after I've had my, where's my tea? See, I've even got my name on my mug, Eimear, and I will look and respond to you. So it has been absolutely lovely being here tonight, and maybe I look forward to being with you again. I think next week you have Julie Brett from Australia, and I'm sure that's going to be an absolutely wonderful tea with Druid. So I will say goodbye for now and wishing you all a lovely evening. So, slán go fóill, banach tí, solas agus gró. Blessings, light and love. Go raibh eolaí.